Well, well, well. Look what the Cats dragged in. Eddie Walls and John Martin are back with you for college football bowl season. We're excited to be here. And my man Eddie told me before this got started that he has bet every single damn game. Now, we're not going to go over every single game. We're going to go over the vast majority of games. But this is what we're dealing with here. We're dealing with an absolute bowl game sicko in Eddie Walls, and he is nice enough to share some of his insights with us. First of all, Eddie, great to see you, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I don't think if every bowl game is accurate, but
Okay.
most of them.
Not every. Okay.
The majority.
That's right. Well, there's a lot. There's certainly a lot. So thanks for being here with us today. Obviously, people saying nice things in the comments. Before we get started, got to send you guys to respicks.com. They are going to have at least 6 more releases, but most of the time they are going to go over, their promised amount. Eddie obviously is a part of the college football team at Right Angle Sports. It's $245 for all remaining plays. The next release is going to be later this afternoon, about 2.5 hours from now. First release was sides last week. More totals focus today. Again, you want to hit that website, respicks.com/CFB. That's respicks.com/CFB. Make sure you get that package. You will be glad you did. Okay. Without further ado, we're going to do the marathon thing here. We're going to roll down the list of bowl games, Eddie, and we have one tonight, if I'm not mistaken. So let's kick it off.
Yeah, I actually took Jacksonville State +3 last week. It's moved tremendously, almost too far, I think. I thought when I was betting it that I was going to get the backup quarterback for Troy. I think that Gilcrease is much worse than Crowder, especially from an efficiency standpoint. I still like Jacksonville State side. I think they're the better team. I will tell you this, though. If I'd known that Crowder was going to play, I would have played the over when it was at 46.5 and 47 for like 2 solid weeks. Neither team defends the ball of what the other team likes to do well. I do have to refer to some notes, so I apologize for looking away
please.
at the time. But Jacksonville State was like 107th against the pass, and Troy was 107th against the run. So there will be more points here than you normally see in a Troy game. I can't do anything with this number because it's moved to where I would have made it, basically. I like Jacksonville State side. I would definitely make it much smaller now that they're favored. I thought +3 was stealing, to be quite honest with you. Obviously, the market agreed with me there.
All right, moving right along here. Louisiana Lafayette, Delaware, 3-62.
Yeah, I bet over in this game, and I don't even mind it at this number, to be quite honest with you. Lunch Williams, the quarterback for Lafayette that came in, I think, week 6, turned out to be a very explosive runner, and that's what they made the offense kind of work with. Desmond, the coach for Louisiana, he figures out offenses no matter what he has to deal with. The problem for ULL is the defense completely fell apart. 62, 75, 72 in their final 3 games prior to playing ULM, who they also got into a shootout with. That's not easy to do. They don't have much of a defense. Delaware, obviously, all gas, no brakes on offense, became very, very pass heavy, have major concerns about their defense. Both these teams are relatively healthy, no real opt-outs or anything like that. I kind of like these kind of games where there's no opt-outs early in the bowl season. Both play with a lot of pride. I don't like anything on the side, but I made the total 64. 61.5 would probably be a small bet for me. I liked it much earlier in the week, or last week, I guess it was. So still kind of rolling with the over.
Got it. Kennesaw State, Western Michigan. Kennesaw State, interestingly enough, thought they were going to be losing their coach, whether it was Memphis or Tulane or wherever with Jerry Mack, but he is still there. He's still coaching, and they got a game against Western Michigan, 349.5 here, Eddie.
Yeah, I like the under in this game. And by the way, WMU also signed their coach to an extension as well to try and protect these guys from leaving, which is kind of hysterical because their contracts aren't big enough for like an SEC, Big 12, or Big 10 school to even care about the buyout on them. Just gives them some security, so that way they're not looking towards other jobs. First of all, I think the WMU's offense is about as pedestrian as you could possibly want. They don't throw the ball except for on third down. They're 100% methodical. They have good reason to be so. Their run defense is – their defense in general is a top 25 defense. And they played some pretty feisty offenses. I mean, they held Michigan State in week 1 to like 200 yards. Nobody really scored on them all season long. They gave up 2 explosive touchdowns to CMU. I think that they're very, very good on defense. I would have a problem laying points with them. I did all season long because that offense is so methodical. They want to win close games. They take so much time off of the clock with long extended drives. They're almost a service academy style team.
Mm-hmm.
And Kennesaw, as explosive as they've been, they haven't played very good defenses. And when they have played even subpar defenses, their offenses had hard time struggling as well. I mean, UTEP really held them down. Jacksonville State in the championship game, they convert 2 fourth quarter touchdowns to win the Conference USA championship. I think their offense is propped up by bad defenses. So I like under 49.5.
All right, moving right along. Memphis, NC State. This is the Gasparilla Bowl. NC State 4.5 with a total here of 58.5.
Yeah, I didn't do anything quite yet on this game. I was hoping for a number that I'm not going to get, so I'll just talk about it freely. I was looking to play a 58 non-juiced over. NC State ended up with a great pass offense, and Bailey is going to play in this game, so I do like that. Also, Memphis has some secondary injuries. This is a relatively healthy Memphis team, so I do lean that way, but I don't know if they're up to snuff when it comes to this kind of opponent. NC State has some major opt-outs at running back. Jolie, the tight end, the left tackle, he's going to be out. But what I really liked about this is with Memphis's cornerbacks out, there's 2 cornerbacks who are questionable and likely not going to play for NC State. That was already a pass defense that was 132nd in the nation. Unfortunately, you need both teams to cooperate in an over, and Memphis is so run heavy and NC State's so good against the run that I just can't really count on a lot of explosives from Memphis's side. So it's just a pass at 58.5, 59. I made it 60.5, so I would need a flat 58, which I'm not going to get.
Yeah, I just real quick, I do like anecdotally, I do like Memphis in the game. Brennan Lewis and Cortez Bram. First of all, Memphis has no opt-outs. Even the guys that have transferred are going to play, is what the interim said. So I think there's a lot of motive. Like, you know, a lot of times in these games, as you know, it's like who actually gives more of a shit than, you know, on which side. And I do think on Memphis' side, there's a lot of that because it's literally the last game for a lot of those guys, and they have no opt-outs, and it's an interim coach, and they're trying to rally. So I do like getting the points here, and I also like the over. So I'm in agreement with you there. All right, here we go. Washington State, Utah State, 2.5 with a total here of 54.5.
Is it really 54.5?
Yeah.
That's great. Okay, so this is probably going to be my
It's 52.5. Excuse me. It's 52.5.
Okay. Yeah. That would be my 54.5 would be a really, really big bet. But nonetheless, 52.5, 53s I see out there. This is going to be my favorite under on the board. So Utah State is missing their 1,000-yard wide receiver, their tight end. That really kind of pulls down their offense, which became very, very run-heavy based, especially quarterback run-heavy based, and kind of methodical against Fresno. Washington State's defense ended up a top 20 defense throughout the year, also not very good on offense. Let's talk about how crazy this total is just in context. To play at Ole Miss in a 24-20 game, which they lost by 4 points at Ole Miss, the total was 55. Then they played at Virginia. The total was 51. They lost that game 22-20. Now we're playing Utah State without their best weapon on wide receiver, and it's at 52. That doesn't really make a lot of sense, especially from a game stat standpoint. If Washington State's going to win this game, they're certainly not going to do it by getting into a shootout. They don't have the players on offense to do that. Also, their defensive coordinator, who's been there all year long as the interim, this is probably a big statement for him if he can hold down the fort, win a game, a bowl game against a pretty good Utah State team. I do think that Washington State's the better team here, but I, like most people, do not like backing teams without coaches. Although that being said, I don't think if that holds true in 2025, 26 anymore.
Right.
We have 37 new coaches. Like,
exactly.
What are you doing? Like, every single kid is in the portal anyway.
Yep.
I mean, like, you can certainly see in some teams that, like, the effort wasn't there because maybe the coach was going and looking for another job.
Yep.
We'll get to a couple of those teams that just flatline towards the end of the year.
Yep.
But I mean, you can get out of here with just that one angle working because there's too many of them. Like you can't do that across the board and end up a winner. I just don't believe in it anymore. You have too many opt-outs. You have too many teams that had expectations that failed, and that's why their coach is gone. And then you also have teams that probably didn't like their coach, and we'll get to one of those soon. So anyways, I like the under in this game. I liked Washington State side when it was at 3. I wouldn't touch it at 2.5.
And I think you're right. Like you have multiple. You have what? Ole Miss, Tulane, right. James Madison. These coaches are in the playoff.
Right.
And they're leaving. Right now, I know Summerall's doing, and I assume Chesney's doing the same with JMU. But I mean, still, it's like when everybody's changing coaches, nobody's changing coaches. So
yeah,
there's no net impact really.
It just gets a little silly when that's going to be your only angle. And like, as soon as like bold lines were released, everybody just ran and hit every single team that didn't have a coach. And it's like, that worked in 2023, 22. I don't know.
Right.
Now players are getting paid way too much money to just go out there and not show up. Like, not only that, let's just talk about like the depth of the situation. So like you have a backup quarterback making a bowl game start. This is actually a game that matters to him more than you would possibly imagine because his financial aptitude is going to be settled on how this game goes possibly for the next season. I don't think we can do it like we used to. So
I got the truth, brother.
All right.
That's just true in life, you know. Right. Toledo, Louisville 7.5, total here 44.5.
Yeah, I like Toledo. I like Louis. First of all, we're going to go over a couple of things. So Moss is going to play the quarterback for Louisville. That was announced this morning. Who's going to play with him, though? All 3 top running backs are out. Both All-American wide receivers are out. A defensive end and a linebacking starter is out. They only beat 3 teams by more than 10 points all season long. Bowling Green, Virginia Tech, Boston College, and Kentucky, who didn't show up. So I guess 4, but only 3 Power 4 teams by more than 10. Toledo has 13 seniors in this game. They're a very, very proven team. And I also don't think that they liked Candle very much. All the quotes that I got, Louisville is very, very jazzed to play. I'm sorry, Toledo is very jazzed to play in this game. Even their safety, who's an NFL safety, said he's going to play. I don't expect any opt-outs on that side. This was probably the best G5 team statistically in all of college football, but they just had a coach who can't win games. I mean, he just can't beat teams when he's 14-point favorites and can't win close games. That doesn't say anything about the roster. The roster is legit for sure. So yeah, I like Toledo on anything above a 7.
All right, here we go. West Kentucky, Southern Miss. Southern Miss obviously did lose their coach to Memphis. West Kentucky retained theirs. West Kentucky here favored by 4, total of 56.
Yeah, I played both the Western Kentucky -4 and over in this game. First of all, we talked about teams losing their coaches and maybe looking elsewhere. I don't know if that was the case, but Southern Miss really, really fell apart the final 4 games of the season. And when I say fell apart, they didn't just lose. They lost to absolutely everybody and got crushed. And the game that they could have went to the conference or to the Sun Belt Championship game, they never led against Troy. And they're a better team on paper than Troy. But they didn't even try to score a touchdown in the 4th quarter to make the game close. I mean, Braxton just wasn't healthy. I don't know if he is. I don't know if he plays in this game. Western Kentucky was 13th in the nation in passing. I think that they probably deserved better, but they played LSU before playing a game to go to the Conference USA Championship. They got into shootouts. That's what their problem was. Both these defenses kind of fell apart. 35 points, 35. They scored 35 points or more in their final 4 games of Conference USA and only won 2 of them. That's not going to get it done. Much higher on the total, especially if Braxton plays. Even if he doesn't, I don't mind the backup quarterback, Liddy, who came from UAB, has a pretty strong arm. Western Kentucky is a very, very good side. For me, personally, if for whatever reason you don't like Western Kentucky's defense, which there's not a lot to like, I understand that. I felt very comfortable with the over as well.
Okay, Cal, Hawaii, Cal laying 1, total of 54.5.
Yeah, I'm still shocked that Cal is the favorite in this game, to be quite honest with you. At no point in the season would Cal have been a favorite at Hawaii. It's actually not possible. Like I looked up everything I could historically. And I think that this might be because people were so amazed to see how good Cal looked against SMU in the final game of the season with a new coach who was super aggressive on offense, nothing like we've seen with Wilcox. It does give you pause, right? Like, wow, like that was a major transformation that game. They had 77 plays. They threw the ball 42 times. They played with crazy tempo, and they led SMU. That was a real beatdown that SMU was able to come back and kind of rally. But nonetheless, JKS, the quarterback for Cal, coming back is a big deal for a lot of people, and I get that. I just think it's at Hawaii. I know that you have Rolovich, who is a Hawaii native, and you have JKS, who's the number one quarterback to ever come out of Hawaii. The number two quarterback to ever come out of Hawaii is Alahado, the starting quarterback for Hawaii. So I liked Hawaii in this game when it was like 2.5, 3. It was not a big bet for me. I do have pause too. I have not seen that version of Cal in many years. I made a lot of money, I think all of us did, off of playing Wilcox as a dog and unders. I don't know what to expect going forward with Cal. It's going to be much more aggressive. It can't be any more conservative than it was. So it was just a small bet on Hawaii. It's likely still a small bet. I just think the wrong team is favored. But, I mean, it's an important game for both. It's definitely probably the most important bowl game that nobody's talking about because all the heritage and like the Hawaii culture for the coaches and the quarterbacks. I mean, it's cool. It's a good game.
Very cool. Very cool. Real quick, just want to stop here and remind people that are watching. And again, hi, thanks for being here. If you like what you're hearing from Eddie, this is the free version. Imagine the premium version, respicks.com/CFB. Again, he's part of the team at Right Angle Sports, helping out, as always, with the bowl season and the entire regular season. Again, head to respicks.com/CFB. Still as at least 6 more releases on the way. So if you want to get more of these thoughts, it's respicks.com/CFB. Okay, we'll continue. Central Michigan, Northwestern, 10.5 with a total here of 43.5.
Yeah, this is one of the games I didn't actually do anything with. I really lean Northwestern just because the size differential on the offensive line versus defensive line. We kind of have a sample size of a game like this, which was ULM, which is very similar to Central Michigan in that they're very methodical and plotting. And they were outweighed on the offensive line to defensive line by, I think, 45 pounds. It's a little less here. It's like 35 pounds, but still, that wasn't a game. And that game closed 12, and it was over in the first half. Central Michigan is a hell of a MAC team, but they can only run the ball. They don't throw the ball. They're pretty option-based. I just don't think they're going to have enough success on offense, so it made me lean to the under, but none of my numbers really supported a strong play here. So it's just a pass for now.
No worries. Moving right along. New Mexico, Minnesota here, total of 47. I believe Minnesota laying 2.5 here.
Yes, correct. And I played the under in this game. Top 40 defense for both and top 20 run defense for New Mexico. Also, we have a very good opt-out situation here to play the under with Darius Taylor, which is the explosive running back going to the NFL. And the running back, too, has already hit the portal. He's likely not going to play, obviously. If you like playing trends, which I don't personally, but I do believe in certain things, Fleck, while at Minnesota, has never lost a bowl game. He's 6-0. He's laying under less than a field goal. He has a size differential on the offensive-defensive line that he's going to try and take advantage of. New Mexico's defense was very, very legit under Eck all season long. I don't think that Minnesota is going to roll out an offense that he's not prepared for. My biggest problem with New Mexico and backing New Mexico all year long was they just don't score and they don't have any explosive ability. I thought that 47 was really kind of high. I mean, the only way you're getting above this is through special teams, defensive touchdowns, because they both have the same game plan, which is kind of take the air out of the ball, lean on the run game. And there's not going to be nearly as many explosives. We also have a wide receiver injury for New Mexico. It didn't seem that big, but when you're 96th in offensive efficiency, every little bit would help. So, yeah, I like the under in that one.
Okay, we got FIU, UTSA, 8.5, total here of 59.5.
Yeah, this is a game that I really can't do anything with. I wanted to bet against FIU pretty badly. UTSA is possibly the most inconsistent team in all of college football this year. The only thing that they were good about is overs. But even then, I lost money, I think, in a couple of games, especially CSU. Now they have a linebacker, 2 linebackers, a cornerback, a free safety. They're going to be out. They're very good against the run. FIU did not pass the ball efficiently enough and didn't have enough explosives for me to justify over with all the opt-outs on defense. And also FIU is going to be missing Brian Blades, their star cornerback. He's probably gone. And then another cornerback hit the portal. So the only thing I could do here is play over, and I didn't feel comfortable. I couldn't get to 60, and it's unfortunately just a pass.
Got it. All right, here we go. Pittsburgh, ECU, 7.5 total here of 57.5.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't a game that I feel comfortable giving anything out at 7.5. That seems a little ridiculous. But I really can't tell you that I don't know what ECU is. If you played Pitt early in the week, you did a very good job. ECU without a quarterback, Hauser, without their offensive coordinator, and without their defensive coordinator. Also, they're going to be missing cornerback 1 and their left guard. A lot of things have happened in 2 weeks to this team. And I mean, for good reason. All these guys deserved paychecks, especially Hauser for sticking with ECU last year and this year. The offensive coordinator did a hell of a job. The head coach, I mean, he's okay. Pittsburgh without their linebackers, both of them, and a defensive tackle, probably going to the NFL. I wanted to play over very badly. Can't do that without Hauser. I mean, I don't know what the offense is going to look like, but it's not going to be the same. It's probably not going to be ran at the same tempo. So yeah. Next.
Penn State, Clemson, 3.5 total here of 48.5.
Okay. We talked earlier about Fleck and being 6-0 at Minnesota. Clemson, Dabo Swinney has won 15 consecutive years with a postseason victory. He takes it extraordinarily seriously. However, I don't know if his players do. So he's going to have a starting safety, 2 defensive tackles, a defensive end, 2 cornerbacks, wide receiver, left tackle, and left guard are all questionable or out. Glovnick is the only starter that we know for sure.
Right.
Penn State has a defensive tackle, a safety, and a left guard have already been announced out. They're going to the NFL. They also have a defensive end, cornerback 1, both running backs, wide receiver 1, and offensive tackle times 2. So you have way, way too many players to make a guessing game on this. I prefer the Clemson side, but I do need to find out who's playing in this game before I can do anything. I think it would be foolish for me to say, like, yeah, I'm going to definitely bet Clemson, because if they don't have any of these guys, then I just have to pass. Like, you're just playing way too much of a guessing game there.
Yep, understood. Georgia Tech, BYU, 4.5 with a total of 56.
Yeah, really, really tricky game. From the fact that Georgia Tech's defense was really, really bad this year, 83rd in overall efficiency. Which is crazy when you consider that Brent Key is such a defensive first guy. And the only way that they could win games or remain competitive is through offense. And now this is the last game, obviously, for Haynes King, Rutherford, and I mean, basically the entire offense and their offensive coordinator left. BYU is going to be up for this game as well. I'm sure they feel that they got robbed of a college football spot by losing to the best Big 12 team twice. It's just a pass at these personal numbers. I prefer the dog, but I'm not ever going to get the number that I want. So just a pass.
Got it. Miami, Ohio, Fresno State, 4.5, total of 42.5.
Another game that I really, really wanted to play the dog in. And then the opt-outs came, and I'm happy for anybody in the MAC that's getting a paycheck. Like, seriously, like, these kids deserve it. I mean, Conference USA, MAC, these kids really do deserve when they get paid. Miami, Ohio, though, was 107th in offense. Fresno's top 30 defense. Miami, Ohio's top 25 defense. I would like to play the under. I'm not going to get a chance to do so. And also, if I was going to play the under, I would prefer that Fresno safety, defensive tackle, linebacker, cornerback, and defensive line were all in this game. They haven't mentioned whether or not they're going to play for sure. So until I get those notifications, can't do anything there.
Comment section really quickly. Eddie is a beast. That is 100% true.
Thank you, Sam Ronald.
As is the RES College Football Bowl package.
They're more of a beast than me.
RSPicks.com/CFB. Okay. RSPicks.com/CFB. Again, at least 6 more releases. Eddie is vital to the team. And he's very nice to give us some thoughts here on the entire slate. But if you want the premium stuff, the best stuff, that's RSPicks.com/CFB. CFB. Okay, where were we? We were 233, 234.
Yeah.
North Texas at San Diego State. North Texas -3, total of 55.5.
Yeah, so North Texas's quarterback, Drew Mestamaker, was just rolled out at 218, so about 6 minutes ago. Money hit for San Diego State. I'm going to tell you that I am going to play North Texas. I don't care about the quarterback that much. If they want to continue to bet San Diego State, I will definitely take plus money. I'm not going to do it anytime soon. I probably should have announced it, but I mean, whatever. First of all, San Diego State's entire team is built on defense. Well, their defensive coordinator just left for Nebraska. They're going to be missing both defensive ends. Their cornerback, who's a stud, is going to the NFL, and 2 linebackers, more than likely. I think that North Texas, without the quarterback, is a better team, period. North Texas, I personally feel that the AAC was better than the ACC this year. And they should have made the playoff. San Diego State without an off. I mean, I was just talking about this with like somebody 2 weeks ago, but it is so weird that Sean Lewis became this defensive-minded guy who couldn't score points. What is he without this defense all of a sudden? He has the worst quarterback probably in G5. I mean, I never was once ever impressed by him. So yeah, I don't know anything. Maybe I won't, maybe I will. I don't know, but I just think that it's just kind of foolish that people are running to bet against North Texas. I don't know if San Diego State is a real legit team. Their one win against Cal was great, but you take that away, I don't know. They couldn't beat New Mexico despite 3 turnovers in the game that would have gotten the Mountain West Championship game. I don't know. Next.
Virginia, Missouri. I believe this is this Missouri -6.5, total of 48.5?
Right. This is a game that I really need to find out who's playing and who's not. A lot of speculation whether or not Morris is going to go the senior day, which is strange to me because I never really thought of him as an NFL quarterback. I also never really realized that Virginia was a top 20 defense. And then I did a deep dive, and it was kind of interesting to me that they were a top 20 defense. And I think it was due to the fact that they didn't really play a lot of tough opponents that were good on offense. They never faced a top 50 run offense the entire season except for Florida State. Missouri has 2,000-yard running backs. I just don't know if they have an offensive line. Their left tackle, their right tackle, and their center all have NFL aspirations, it looks like. Missouri has a ton of potential for opt-out, so I have to be super careful there. Their run offense was 9th in the nation. They were a top 8 defense. This is a very tricky game for any handicapper to look at because neither one of these teams really played the best opponents in their conference. And when they did, they never really looked stellar. If anything, I would probably play the under if I could find out information in time. But, I mean, it's just one of those games where it's too far out and you're guessing far too much for right now.
Yep, makes total sense. LSU, Houston, honestly, I can't believe LSU is bowl eligible. Wow. I mean, I got to say, I was a little surprised to see their name, but they are. And it's 2.5 with a total of 41.5.
Yeah. Isn't it something that Houston finally makes a bowl game after all those years with Holgorsen and like coming close or whatever, and then they get a home game. They get a home bowl game for they're rewarded by playing at home. Right. I always think that sucks. You know, like, oh, you finally got a bowl game in Hawaii. You're gonna stay home. And
we don't get to go to the, I don't even know where the best destination is anymore now that the Bahamas Bowl is gone, but somewhere nice.
I promise you, I played a lot of games, guys. I did not play this game, and this is why. I still have a hard time believing that LSU is as bad as they were. And I saw them almost lose to Western Kentucky. I look at Houston and say, oh, my God, Houston won like 8 games this year. They really turned around their season. Well, they didn't do it with the offense. I don't know if they can score on this LSU defense. And the talent disparity is 17 4-stars, even if their backups will be starting against 1 4-star. I just have a mental hurdle of going over and saying, I don't think LSU cares about this bowl game at all. I also don't know if Lane Kiffin has worked with the offense at all. I mean, preseason, I'm talking this game's like -17 LSU. And I know that's a long time ago. That's like 14 games ago, 14 weeks ago. And we've seen LSU just suck for so long. I mean, even without their top 4 wide receivers and their best linebacker, their cornerback, I just have a mental hurdle, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to do anything there. So
fair enough. Moving right along here. Georgia Southern, App State, 5.5, total of 59.5.
Yeah, we released this at -2, I believe. So App State was not expecting to play in this bowl game. And you have a very small window of opportunity to release and play and bet on these kind of things. But App State, not only were they not expecting to play in this bowl game, they'd already had players enter the transfer portal prematurely. So cornerback, linebacker, defensive end, and safety had already entered the portal. Offensive tackle, wide receiver, tight end, right guard, all entered the portal. They already played this game 3 weeks ago, and Georgia Southern won this game rather handedly. At the time, I didn't realize it. I was a little preoccupied with things going on in life. But App State can't run the ball. That's the only way that you really beat this Georgia Southern team. And App State has 131st pass defense. Georgia Southern's going to be having their seniors, French, and all of their wide receivers play in this game. So I just thought it was kind of a slam dunk on anything under 3, 5. I mean, I made it 6, so it's up to you. But I mean, I don't know, man. I just think that Georgia Southern's a much better team that's probably a lot more motivated. Also, App State is going to get a humongous influx of NIL money starting next year from the gambling laws in the state of North Carolina. So that's something that they're probably looking forward to. There's probably going to be a ton of portal entries on the 2nd of January in all states of Carolinas. So something to look forward to.
Coastal Carolina, Louisiana Tech, 9.51.
Yeah, we released La Tech -7. Coastal, obviously, without a coach, but they haven't been competitive the last month, basically. We released as a best bet Georgia Southern Coastal over, and it hit in the first half. And then in the third quarter, the Coastal quarterback got hurt. He's been injured ever since. However, they lost their last 3 games by 49, 44, and 14. They're 134th in defense, 133rd in run defense, 125th in pass defense. They quit long ago. I expect this team to probably have the biggest turnover in the portal. I don't know if players were necessarily connected to Beck, but I know it wasn't a popular firing by that program. And La Tech is 16th in run offense, won their last 3 games rather handedly. I did play the over in this game as well. I would not play it at anything above 51 just because I don't know what the quarterback status is going to be for Coastal. If it's Collier, you have a great bet. If it's the throwing quarterback Hudson, it's not a great bet. So I'm just throwing that out there. And I think that La Tech's pass defense is really, really bad. But if you don't have a quarterback that can efficiently throw the ball and run the ball, it's kind of a blowout city, and you're then hoping that La Tech does all the scoring. So I felt better about the side than the total.
Okay, USC, TCU, 4.5, 57.5. Anything there?
Yeah, no, nothing. I need to find out whether or not Hoover is going to play for TCU. He's just being offered too much money, and if he leaves, then I'm really have a dead spot in a dead zone, and I really don't want anything to do with that. So no, nothing there yet.
Iowa, Vandy -5.5, total 47.
Yeah, I laid 4 and maybe some 4.5 earlier. I also gave it as a good bet to Ed Fang last week in his newsletter. First of all, I think that Iowa is possibly one of the best teams in America. Unfortunately, they're playing Vanderbilt, who's Pavia's last game. And Iowa is 137 or 132nd in pass efficiency this year. Well, Vandy is number 9 in the entire nation in run defense, and they faced bigger offensive lines, or at least as big offensive lines, all season long as Iowa. Iowa also has possibilities of opt-outs at center, right guard, right tackle. I would love to play over, but with those offensive line injuries, I don't know if I'm going to get enough scoring and enough explosives in this game. I just think that Vandy is probably the best team not in the playoffs. I made this around 6.5, 7, so it's up to you if you want to get involved. But I think that you'll find Iowa money at some point in this market. They're a very, very attractive dog.
Yeah. Arizona State, Duke, 2.5, total of 49.
Yeah, I bet last night Arizona State +3. I really like this team. First of all, I think that Mensa might go to the NFL. I don't know for sure. I just think that Arizona State's a better team. I don't think that Duke is very good at all, to be quite honest with you. I think that they won their Super Bowl. They have no run offense. Their pass defense is 127th in the nation. They could only win shootouts all season long, and that was with Mensa. being a Superman. I mean, he earned his money, actually. I don't think the Duke's in a bowl game without him, let alone ACC championship, which is kind of crazy. And not only that, Dillingham came out and said that anybody that's in the portal, anybody that's expecting to go to the NFL, you can play in this bowl game. You're part of the 2025 team. This is a game that they want to represent. He seems like a serious coach that's serious about winning these kind of games. I just thought they were the better team. I think they won the game on the field. I don't know. Yeah,
makes sense. Interesting approach there for sure from Kenny Dillingham. You don't really see that in college football. Is he going to be the next coach at Michigan? I mean, that seems like it's on the table. They need one. Rough week for Sharon Moore, but they have a bowl game. Michigan, Texas, 7.5, total of 46.
Possibly bad week for the Walls household too. So about 3 hours before the Sharon Moore thing happened, yours truly went and bet a bunch of overs, like anywhere you could find at 45, because, it's going to be the Heisman show for next year. And I was projecting like 49, and Michigan hadn't really faced a good pass defense, and Texas had a lot of opt-outs on defense. So I thought I was stealing. I mean, Texas' best linebacker and defensive end is out. Their cornerback is out. Their safety's out. Their defensive tackle's out. I'm going crazy over here, right? And then that happens, and now I don't even know if Underwood's going to play. There's 16 starters that could opt out for this game. They can renegotiate their NIL deal. Biff Poggi's a great overcoach and plays a completely different system than Sharon Moore. That's great, but I don't know who's playing in this game. So I definitely would not advise following me on this one. I mean, it's definitely everything 100% is up in the air. I know that the players are pretty angry about the situation and they want to play and beat the hell out of whoever. But I mean, that just sounds like, player talk and 19-year-olds saying cool stuff. But, when their agent gets a hold of them and tells them they can go to South Carolina and get 600,000 more. And they also have more time because this happened under the circumstances, the way that I read it, to renegotiate their deal than the rest of college football. So they could go further past January 2nd. I would wait till the morning and find out who's playing in this game before you make any decisions.
Yep, makes total sense. Nebraska, Utah, 16.5 with a total here of 50.5. Obviously, some reports that it's Kyle Whittingham's last game, others not. But certainly it seems like it will be at Utah.
Oh, I see. Yeah, it's definitely his last game at Utah, which flipped the script for me because I was leaning Nebraska, and now it's just a pass. I didn't think that Utah would really care about beating down Nebraska, and they had 2 offensive tackles that were going to be first-round draft picks, maybe top 15 draft picks. And I just thought that anything over 14 was looking pretty damn juicy. And then this comes out, and you'll probably see the biggest effort possible. I mean, he's been there for 30 years. He recruited every single one of these players himself. I guess you could make a case for over because, Utah's run defense was 109th in the nation, and Nebraska's going to be pretty run heavy with the backup quarterback. But I don't know. I mean, I think you're going to get a lot of effort from Utah, and that's the only side I could play at this point, and I just passed.
Rice, Texas State, 11, 59.5.
Okay. Did we talk about any of the playoff games, or are we waiting?
Not yet. Those are
okay.
We're going in chronological order.
Yeah. I was just like, whoa, we missed some games there. Okay, got it.
I know these are the least important games to you, but
no. Yeah, no, these are definitely right up my alley. But I was just like, whoa, I missed some games there. I just looked at my sheet and I was like, oh
yeah, we're saving it for the end.
Okay. I have to make sure that Texas State doesn't have any major portal opt-outs. If that's not the case, then we'll see what happens on my end. I'm not too worried about Rice's opt-outs, but I am definitely worried before I make any decisions on total or side about Jackson, Sparks, all these really, really explosive guys that played on Texas State's offense. If they opt out for more money elsewhere, I could totally see that happening, obviously. I think anybody that watched Texas State this year could see that happening. I just can't make any decisions until then.
Makes sense. This was a RES release earlier in the week at 3. It's now at 7. See, this is why I tell you guys, get the package, because I don't know about you guys. I like having 3 after it moves to 7. Makes me feel better about my life. But Navy laying 7 here, total of 53.5.
Yeah. I think that we all knew that Sorbsby was going to opt out. Maybe people were holding on for hope or didn't want to touch the market until it became a little bit more full. I mean, all of his quotes were just like totally non-committal about playing the bowl or returning to Cincinnati. He has an evaluation for $5 million. That's the second highest in all of college football. That would break Mensa's record from last year.
Wow.
Obviously, he's going to a national contender, probably somewhere in the SEC. I had no doubt that he wasn't going to play against Navy in this game. Like, it just didn't make any sense, right? And also his defensive tackle, Corleone, his cornerback, strong safety, and tight end are likely out as well. And I think that there's just something to be said that's kind of cool about backing service academies and bowl games, because you're not going to get the opt-outs. The kids get paid, which is a huge deal for service academy members to go to this bowl. I think you're always going to get a great effort. It's also the quarterback, running back, wide receiver one, and most of the offensive lines last game. So there was never any doubt that we were going to get full effort from Navy.
Yep.
I'm glad that we released and we were able to get down prior.
Absolutely. All right. Now for the moment you've all been waiting for, Eddie, the biggest games of your week.
Oh.
The playoff games.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I say that jokingly, obviously. Tulane, Ole Miss, that should be a 5 instead of a 6. But 17.5 with a total here of 56.5.
Yeah, I laid Ole Miss. I don't like Tulane, and I never did all season long. I didn't bet many of their games. We did release, I think, week 3, Tulane -12, and that was never a game. We never had to watch the fourth quarter. It's not so much that I thought that like Tulane was a bad team. They just never did anything impressive. They're about as run-of-the-mill average as you can possibly get. They're 48th on offense. They're 59th on defense. They're 87th in pass defense. The talent disparity couldn't be any bigger here as if you were to go by like, blue blood stars and everything like that. The only thing that I worry about in laying 17 points or laying points in general in these first round of the playoff games is effort in the fourth quarter if you're up by 21, or, you do have to hold back because you are going to be playing for a national championship. So, I felt good about the Ole Miss bet, but I would not suggest just blindly laying 3 touchdowns or because the dogs have been so bad and hasn't been competitive, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Maybe first half laying it was the better option. I never really thought of it at the time, but yeah.
Okay. So 17.5, you don't love as much.
No, I don't. I thought 17 was fair and I bet it. So
okay.
Anything over the hook, I wouldn't be excited to bet.
Got it. Alabama, Oklahoma. Alabama is -1 here, total of 40.5.
I'm not going to lie to the audience here. I have not won a single bet involving Alabama all season long. I don't know what's wrong with me and this team. I take that back. I won the Auburn over in the Iron Bowl. So I guess I'm like 1-5 or whatever, but I can't figure them out. They can't run the ball. They throw the ball at like 13th most efficient in the entire nation, but they don't score. They're just like they're an over on paper, and then they end up being an under statistically. Very, very confusing. And then this game is even more confusing. They just played this game a month ago. The total was 47. It landed 46. Now it's 40.5. I'm staying away. I don't have a good feel for either of these teams. The SEC is not my cup of tea, to be quite honest with you. And I should probably stop betting it altogether. One of these years.
One of these years, indeed. And then finally, final playoff game that I've got, Miami, A&M, 3.5 with a total of 51.
I bet under 51.5 yesterday or maybe the day before. The way that these two teams can lose this game. So let's think about it. The way that they've lost these games, they've only lost 3 games total. The way it happened is 5 interceptions at home against Louisville, and then SMU 3 interceptions, and then Texas A&M lost because of interceptions by their quarterback. I imagine very, very conservative game plan. I think it's going to be a lot of running, a lot of intermediate passes, throw the ball downfield when absolutely necessary. I think that the defense is much more ahead. I always have for Miami this entire year over Beck and their offense. I think that they have real playmakers at Miami that we will see in the next couple of years. But the offensive line is so good for Miami that you can run 4 or 5 yards at a time. I think it's methodical on both sides. I just hope that I don't get hit by explosives and special teams and stuff like that. But 51 was higher than I could possibly imagine.
Again, if you want more insights from Eddie Walls, who was very generous with his time today for a second straight year of the college football show extravaganza, raspicks.com/CFB. Get the bowl package. At least 6 more releases coming. I personally would expect more. That's just me, but at least 6 more releases. raspicks.com/CFB. Eddie, my man.
Yes, sir.
That's the season. That's the season on the show.
Man, I'm gonna miss seeing your ugly mug.
I know, man.
Man.
I will. Don't worry.
How many kids do you have now?
I have 2 now. By the time we come back next year, it'll be 3. Yeah.
Fall. All right. Yeah, you're popping them out. I love it.
We're gonna stop there. Well, hopefully.
I'm sorry about your Grizzlies. We knew this was happening.
Yes.
How's Memphis college basketball?
Also in the tank.
Okay. Sorry, I will not bring up sports any longer. We'll focus.
Yeah, no. How about this? Let me reach out to you.
Okay.
All right? That's what we'll do.
All right. I'll miss everybody. And I'm sorry if I'm not around as much. I'll get to your DMs when I can. And thank you, everybody, for your unconditional support, it seems like. And thanks for the team for a wonderful year, as always. Hopefully you guys stick with me if I tank this bowl season. And God bless and good luck to everyone, and have a happy holiday.
Absolutely. Happy holidays, everybody. Thanks for being with us for another season of the RAS College Football Show. Be safe to you and yours. Have a great holiday season, and best of luck in the bowl season. And we'll see you next year.
All right. Sounds good.